Going to start with CAS recognition of years of service for adult program coordinator volunteers.
Sure. Want me to come out there, Alicia?
Yeah, come on.
All right, so coming so I'm on camera here. Everybody here, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. I started Littleton Parks and Rec in 2017, and these three gentlemen were already established in our programs for volunteering their time to be our program coordinators for adult sports, and have spent countless hours just being that person for us. And you guys think it's a small thing for you. It's a gigantic thing for us. It saves us many man hours and also gives us someone with responsibility at the location to make sure everything goes well. And I thought, and Alicia and I and Tim all thought it was time to recognize you guys for your amazing support to our department. I know you do it because you love it, but it's also a gigantic, it's immeasurable what you guys give us back. So we're gonna give you something for appreciation. So I'm gonna first call up Glenn Barry up here. He's our adult basketball coordinator for the Giants. Glenn has, I'm gonna give you this and
Photos.
get a Yeti, a Littleton Parks and Rec Yeti. Glenn has been with us since 2012, 2014, 2014.
14.
Yeah, but spent, what, 20 years before that doing youth basketball, before you even had kids? And then you coached other people's kids, and you coach your kids.
Michelle and I got set up on a first date for the head of Needham Park and Rec.
Look at that.
So it was where she was a substitute teacher in
Amazing.
Needham, I was
I love
running
it.
basketball for Needham. What?
I was working the desk.
I know, you were working at that. but
Which
you
town?
set us up. Needham.
Nice, amazing, amazing. Well, honestly, thank you very much. I want to call the park commissioners up here with me as well. Get a photo with you. Alicia, I don't know if you want to be up here as well.
I got it, it's good.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah, so come on up.
All right, you get the pictures going on forever now behind you.
We're gonna get a shirt made of it, so that's a shirt.
It just goes
Awesome.
on.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Our next person. By the way, I told these guys earlier that they're all lunatics when it comes to these sports, because I've just never seen anybody eat, sleep, and drink a one sport thing than these guys that aren't like professionals. So you're as close to a professional as you can be. So I'm gonna call up Chris Pagansky next. Chris is our adult volleyball.
All wherever it goes.
We replace balls year to year, and this is this year's ball for the season. But Chris started with us in 2012.
Yeah.
So 5 years before I got here, I didn't even know what was going on in these programs with Glenn and Josh as well, and Chris, and they just said, yeah, I got it, just, put it up with the thing. And set the time up for the gym, and I got it from here, so, but Chris goes way above and beyond most. He's in our office a lot. He fixes the nets on his own free time. He brings them home and makes sure that all of the things are working. And everybody else, it's a school property net, but he makes sure that's working for them when they need it, so, and he even came to our adult recess program, taught everybody how to play volleyball for our beach volleyball night. But Chris, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Go on up, gentlemen.
Just wanted to say thanks to Jim Ray. Jim Ray was the gentleman that had the program before I did. I showed up not knowing how to play, and at the end of the night, Jim essentially could have sent me home, but he didn't. And I'm really very thankful for that. And 8 years later, I'm able to carry on the program.
Yeah,
So
awesome.
very nice.
Yeah, thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Just congratulations.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
he's gonna get over because his start program started at 7. Over at the middle school, so. All right, we got one more person. Messed up his plaque, so I already explained to him that I felt terrible about this. Josh coming up, Josh, you got self futsal. Josh is our adult futsal, which I didn't even know was indoor soccer, by the way. I don't know if you knew that. And again, another person that just like texted them or emailed them out of the blue and he didn't know who I was, and he's like, yeah, just do this, this and that, and you're all set. And honestly, it's a plug and play program. It's only because you're there every time and making sure all the people that drop in, they pay and they're doing all the right things. So, and again, he came to our adult recess, indoor soccer, futsal night, showed our guys, that crew how to play. And they really enjoyed that. So I appreciate that. Again, thank you for everything because it's super helpful and, keeps, just keeps a program running that, he reinvigorates, as these two gentlemen do as well, the program. He gets the people rolling, gets them all riled up for it. He makes sure they're registered, make sure they're doing the right thing. So thank you very much for that. So appreciate it. So I messed up his plaque. It says, combined Glenn Barry and Joshua Barry. So I'm making a new one. I said, what are the odds on his middle name is Barry, Joshua Barry?
Not enough.
So I apologize, I'm gonna give him that one, but I got another one coming, so.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Very much. Also big thanks to you, John. You do an amazing amount also, and I know I benefit quite a bit from it. I always know I can call you, and you're on it right away. And I feel bad because a couple of times I have contacted you. You're on vacation, and you're like, "Well, I'm so sorry," but again, you're always right on it. So thank you very much, and it makes our able to help other people much easier also. So I very appreciate it.
Thank you.
I did it very well. Sunday morning, he's in the PJs. I'm like, hey, I got 20 guys waiting outside the gym.
You need you here. I need you down at the gym right now. Like, oh, one day you sleep in. Thank you, gentlemen, appreciate you, really.
All right, moving on, the agenda, commissioner updates. Kate, you want to start us off?
Sure. I do not have any updates.
Scott?
Nothing at the moment, sir.
And same for me, no updates. On to minutes. Did everyone get a chance to take a peek at last month's minutes?
Yes.
All right, do I, any comments or do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the August 21st, 2024 minutes.
Second.
All right, Scott seconds. Okay, I think we have to have a roll call vote on this. So start with Scott,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Pete is a yes. Minutes are approved. On to Littleton Fire's request to use Fay Park for Life Flight landing location for a training session on September 24th, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m.
Yes. So this one's a little bit different.
It's like a nightlife one.
Yeah, so I had a conversation with Deputy Chief Coffey, and he is really excited about amping up some of these trainings that they're doing. They haven't done an actual life flight training in a while. So he wanted, because typically they would use 5CAS, they would typically use 550, so behind us, and land a helicopter there, but they really wanted to be able to have access to, the department. So he figured he'd ask and see how you guys felt about it. He has gone through the application, so the police department knows about it, highway knows about it. So yeah, it just would be an approval for them to use that. Obviously, we'd want to close off the park during that time frame. I mean, technically, it's, I mean, well, like
Yeah.
right now, we'll get into that later, but yeah, so technically it just would be the approval of you guys, but yeah, we would definitely want to close the park during that time frame.
Any other, I guess there are really other events related to
During that
or-
time
yeah.
frame? No, it's totally open.
And I take it there's clearance to safely land there. I take it, right?
Yeah, he would work on that, so it's just approval to use that site, so if for some reason, Life Flight decided that that wasn't gonna be an acceptable location, then they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I was thinking, Kate, I was wondering about tree canopy and. I mean,
Right.
It's
Right.
in front of the, stand. It's
Right.
kinda open, but-
He said, many moons ago that they had done it, and it's been a while, but, yeah.
I don't have any concerns other than that one question, so that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
That someone will verify it's safe for our
Yeah,
fire
absolutely.
department
Yeah.
and in the exercise.
Proper Security is not the right word, but just
Right,
obviously make sure the area is safe for anybody who doesn't know what's going on, which would be a lot of people.
Yep,
I'm
absolutely.
sure those concerns would be taken care of, so.
And that's something we can advertise that in advance to let people know that it's a training, cause they're definitely, that can be a little.
Because it certainly draws some attention.
They used to, do training like scuba in Long Lake a while ago,
Oh.
but usually we didn't know about it. And so I got like, what's going on? So they're, trying to get ahead of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Would it be, something helpful to have like a variable message board, out there? Like, does the fire department have one?
They don't.
In terms of like, there's one on my street right now for, power outage, planned power outage for
Oh, really?
tomorrow.
We could talk to highway department and
just
see
thinking,
if they could do
'cause-
one.
If, it's kind of like those unique things, if a
Right.
helicopter's landing, people are all like, oh, what's going on?
Right.
I know I want to go see it.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
They
the
draw a
thing.
crowd.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think there definitely would be people interested in watching it, so that's why we need to make sure
Yeah.
we have some sort of parameter set for that, yeah.
Pete, but that's a fair point so that it doesn't cause any undue stress on someone seeing it land there.
Yeah, I think maybe like a couple days or a day or two. I think that's.
Yeah, I can talk to, Stephen Yonley about that.
And what's their normal protocol for that sort of thing?
I don't think there's a normal protocol, they haven't done it in a super long time. And typically, like, if there's actually an emergency happening, they would potentially land, I think they have landed on 495 before if needed.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
And-
highway, accident of the week,
Yeah.
490.
Yeah. And like I said, the other location that they use in town is right behind the police station where we are now.
I'm wondering if there is a, signboard, it should probably say park closed,
Mhm.
just so that people don't think it's an attraction. Hey, let's all go down and watch it.
Right.
Right.
Is this a votable thing?
Yes, please.
All right, who would like to make a motion to approve, Littleton Fire Department's request to use Fay Park on September 24th, 2024, 6 PM to 9 PM?
So I'd like to make a motion to approve the Littleton Fire Department's request to use Fay Park for Life Flight Landing training session September 24th, 2024, 6 to 9 p.m.
I will second that.
Okay, second, okay, roll call vote. Scott,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Pete is a yes.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
Special
You guys are
events.
like way quick tonight. It's great.
Fast.
So I figured I'd just show the little video that we have up here from Oktoberfest from last year. So obviously our first special event that we have coming up is Oktoberfest. It will be on Saturday, September 28th. Is that right? 29th.
Saturday, I think, is the 28th.
Okay, I'm like second guessing myself for some reason right now. Yes, it is the 28th. And it will be at 550 King Street. So the same location that we had last year. We will have the Ridgeable. There's Tavern on the Square will be there again. We've got Ed's Weenies and the Fat Rooster coming, as well as the inflatables that we had last year. So everybody loved that, like, football field length giant pumpkin. That will be there again as well. Definitely make sure to, be there for that weekend. It's just a blast. It's a lot of fun. And I think last year we had somewhere between 3,000 and 4,000
Wow.
people come through. It was pretty fantastic. So,
Everyone likes a good Oktoberfest.
oh,
Yeah.
it's a good one. I mean, it's music, everything. It's just a really great family, event. And, yeah, it's a great time to have that. So. Hopefully. All right.
Nice.
The next one that we have, I don't wanna. There we go. So the Whiff King tournament is a wiffle ball tournament. This actually was, a tournament that Joe Knox, who, was one of our select board, members, used to do all the time in the past. And so, we had conversations with him the last few years about reviving it. So we're gonna revive the wiffle ball tournament. It's just something that was like a really big community event. So right now the registrations are open. You can, register a team. We'll be playing, essentially the games are gonna start at 9 a.m. and go throughout the day. So, it'll be, typical round robin kind of tournament. So yeah, if you have interest in doing that, and kids can play, it's not just like, an adult league, it can be like a family that wants to play. So, any teams that want to play, ages 12 and up, that was the.
Did we find out how many players on the field? Well.
And of course,
That was
Taz
like-
just left.
Uh,
No, we looked this up last time, right? I Googled it.
6 or
With full ball, I wanna say it was 4.
4, 5, 4.
Ball. Hmm.
Is there individual registration if you don't have a team, or is it just team registration?
I'm sure if you reached out to Kaz, that he would make
Set
something work
people up?
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Put a list together.
so it says a maximum of 10. 5 players may bat, but only 3 are allowed to be in the field. So I think
Oh.
4 was that.
Okay. Okay, pitcher and 3 fielders.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
It's not really like baseball, it's like a ring. It's
Right.
like a bullseye kind of thing. It's a little different. But it'll be a lot of fun, and that's gonna be on, Monday, October 14th, which is, Columbus Day or Indigenous Peoples' Day, whichever you choose to celebrate. School will be out, so it makes it a good opportunity for us to have that during the week. All right, any questions about Wicking?
oh, sounds great.
Yeah.
All right,
So do you want to take over, or do you want me to continue?
You go ahead.
All right. All right, how about an update on town meeting articles?
yep. So the 2 main articles that we had been talking about, the updated Article 10, which was for the CPC funding for the construction of tennis courts. So that will be on there with the updated language that Ryan Ferrara, who's our assistant town administrator, he's been working with the town solicitor just to make sure that wording is as it should be. They also, one of the things that we had talked about was the potential of our department funding the design, which was about $112,000. So the town solicitor actually reviewed that and determined that our revolving fund cannot pay for that design because they don't feel that our revolving fund that it meets the allowable uses for that fund. Which I put up the quote there, list as salaries, wages, services, equipment, and expenses associated with programming. So they did not feel that design costs fall within that. So we'll have to look at, working with Activitas so we can try to get an idea of what the costs will be. And we may have to amend it on town floor, it just depends on, if we can get that information sooner or later. But we're working on being able to get that all buttoned up. And then the Article 7 is just going to be an amendment to that compensation grid. So that's gonna add those new employees to that Schedule B, which were the club staff that are working more than 5 months out of a year. So that way, if they would work over 20 hours, that they would be eligible for benefits.
May I ask, back to Article 5?
Yeah.
Will Ryan present, that amendment?
So it's probably gonna be our department. I know that's something, Tim's actually gonna do a presentation to the school board, I believe tomorrow night. So we'll probably base it off of,
That-
something similar to the presentation he's gonna give them. So yeah, tomorrow he's asking for that permission from them to be able to use Whitcomb Field and the middle school field as that new site for the tennis court.
So the school committee meeting's tomorrow night, did I hear you correctly?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay,
You said Thursday? We've been like running back and forth, with all kinds of crazy stuff today, so, all right, if Dave says Thursday, then it's Thursday.
Thursday. All right, thank you.
All right, anything else on the town meeting articles?
The stabilization fund you talked about will be spring.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Just at that point in time, we'll be able to get the, amount from the, previous fiscal year certified. And I think that just makes a lot more sense to be able to say, yeah, what? You look confused.
You won't have it certified in spring, right? Or
We should do
for 20
for
or
24.
whatever, for whatever one that
24.
just ended.
Yep,
Okay.
so that's the money that's essentially rotates, revolves.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll see how this goes. So we can keep playing with this, however you guys want to be able to see the numbers. But essentially, I have the revenue that we've taken in since July 1. That's that second green number. The first green number is the revenue in fiscal year 24 that we have that's earmarked to pay for services programs that are in fiscal year 25. So that money is, we count that as counting as being able to pay those expenses down. So so far, we've expended just under 200,000 and the wages, so this includes all of the seasonal staff over the summer from July 1st on. And it also includes the program coordinators and 50% of the office coordinator. So that's the wages that we've spent up to this point. I think maybe next time I'll put the breakdown sheets on a different slide because they are a little bit small. But I went through and just did things line item on each of the amounts that we've spent. So the smaller green one is our revenue. So each of the accounts that we brought funds in, those are all accounted for. And then the expenditures is broken up with wage, the stipends, benefits, and then obviously just the basic expenses that we have spent to date. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think what we would like to see, and hopefully this is not too horrific of a
we'll see. This was a good fun thing, oh yeah.
would just be to have sort of like each of the programs
Okay,
with the revenue.
Like
the
the old
expense.
one?
Yeah, the
So-
revenue, the expense and the net.
okay, I will figure out how to do that, because the format that we were using before.
Yeah.
that tool doesn't work anymore. So I will figure out how to do it. I will, and then I'll figure out how to make it easier for myself. Okay, I can do that. But otherwise, we're doing pretty well right now. This is the time of year where, there's not a whole lot of funding coming in. We'll see the revenue pick up, as it usually does in January, because that's when we open our registrations for summer programs.
And that estimated net is,
That's all of those pieces together. So the pie that's down at the bottom, so the 53% is going to be the revenue from fiscal year 24, so this past. And then the revenue that we currently got, and then the wages are separated. That's that 22%, and then 12 is the expense to date.
and so, I guess is that 24 revenue and net, or is there 24?
That's
expenses?
that is the revenue that we have brought in specifically to pay for, like Camp T after July 1. So it would be any funds that came in from, July 1st, 2023, which none of those are really gonna, affect this, but from July 1st, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. So that January through June timeframe, that's essentially when we collect the large amount of money that is paying for all of the summer programs. So the fiscal year the town is on is just kind of a nightmare for us, because obviously we start the programs in June, which is the last month of the fiscal year, and then start July and August. So technically, if you were gonna look at, I think you were mentioning this the last month, if you were gonna look at camp based on the fiscal year, it would be July, August, and June the next year. Technically, that would be the fiscal year for that. So yeah, it's a little bit wonky, but
That's another, I guess. Right. And I guess.
you look like how I feel most days.
Yeah, no, because I can see it's gonna be a horrifying
It is.
bookkeeping effort, but, and maybe, like. The programs that have durations, Camp G, the beach, sailing, skiing.
Skiing is the only one that magically fits in there.
Fits in a
perfectly.
right calendar.
Great.
Like those programs we want to look at in the duration of the program,
Right.
right? So from
Yeah.
June, whenever you start collecting to the end of the program. The ongoing stuff should be fairly straightforward, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but those, and Camp T and the beach are gonna be the ones that are the big ones.
Right.
So,
I mean,
we'll have
honestly,
to look at those a couple different ways.
the sports camps have really increased over the years, so that's been a really large revenue coming in. We do with most of the vendors that we work with, it's a 70-30 split. So, what you're seeing in revenue, we're only getting 30% of that, but it's still.
Okay, so those are revenue numbers, not,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. You got
All
it.
right. So we wanna look at those.
Okay, you got it.
That net seems very high. Is that,
I mean, if you so that's, like I said, that's including the rollover from, because that's the thing with the revolving, right? So it's not like there's a close off at the end. There's still those funds that are gonna be in there from fiscal year 24 that we're using those funds to pay off. So right now we're getting the invoices for the buses, for, any of the field trips or, things like that. We pay most of the wages for the summer. You know, I think we,
So
Last- last page.
this 334
Uh-huh,
is being paid out of the 2024.
no, that's 25. So I know, it's so confusing. So out of,
Roll
yeah, so so anything that says fiscal year 25
Hmm.
is going to be based off of what we've paid out from July 1st, 2024 till now.
Right, but we're paying that out from revenue that was collected. in
over. 2024.
Mhm.
Okay.
And, okay, and so, all right. and
So
you
that's
have-
why the net is, because I'm including that revenue to sort of offset, you
Yeah,
know.
otherwise it would be a
It'd
lot
be,
of red.
it'd be really far in the negative, yep.
Yeah, but unless there's a lot more bills to come. I mean, that's still. Close to $500,000 in net, seems
Too high.
like it. Now, it may be real, or I'm just, yeah.
Yeah.
So the two things would be, let's make sure the numbers are correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, that we're not double counting something or missing
Okay.
something. And then, I think if that's real, we probably need to look at where that's coming from, and is that because that's essentially, if this were a business, that's your profit, right?
Right.
And that seems higher than what we would target.
I mean, we did decide the last few years that we did want to increase prices on programs so that we could have a
Some
reserve.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
Right,
that's the stabilization money could come out.
correct, and it would,
Would,
it
yeah.
would, yeah.
Okay, well, and it's something we'll keep digging at.
Okay,
It seems like that's a bigger number than we've seen in the past, but.
okay. I mean, typically, in the past, I don't think I've added in the revenue from the previous fiscal year. Cause this is honestly the first year that we are seeing actual numbers from the revolving, right? Before we had the enterprise and it was like, you cut off and you start over again. So it is gonna be a bit different, just because, you're looking at. a
Right, but we're
revolving
gonna, I mean, you're gonna, okay, so we've paid out. Whatever, essentially paid out $500,000, give or take. So
Mhm.
far, you're not gonna pay a whole lot more out in terms of.
For wages, you're gonna start seeing that drop because the amount. We always start off with a huge influx because we're paying for July and August. Yeah,
So you don't
Yeah.
have seasonal staff until,
that's
So-
all gone, yep,
so there's gonna be some. Bringing us up to the end of next fiscal year, but again, in. January through June, you're gonna bring in likely another.
Yeah.
$800,000, so it
Right.
just,
yeah. So it does all balance out. It's just the timing of how we present it isn't great, just because where the fiscal year is.
Right.
Yeah. Okay,
You may be saying this a little further down in the agenda, recreation supervisor, is that posted yet?
yeah, so that has been posted. It got posted a little bit later. Because the select board was, working on some policies that they actually, approved last night. So one of them, was it's called like a promotion policy.
Mhm.
So if, you had someone internally that, you were promoting to a higher position, instead of just, throwing them into that new grade line and saying, our rule is always, we can only go up to a step 3,
Yeah,
right? If we go above a step 3, then we would have to go to the select board to ask for approval. So in this case, what it would do is it would look at where the person currently is in their current grade and add 2 steps and use that amount so that, when they move to that like increase, it's weird. I'm looking at the actual table in my head, so really you'd be going up. So when you would go up to that next grade, they would look at where that, rate fits. And then if it's like in between 2, they would take the higher, bump up, yeah. So, that, we were kind of waiting on that to get put into place, so, yeah, so that's currently been posted. So I think it was last Thursday, so this Thursday, we close it. Yep. Okay, anything else? All right, new business. I'm sure all of you have heard about this. So there's an elevated EEE threat in Littleton. There was a individual that tested positive for EEE in Acton. So that, sent obviously a response with the Board of Health. The Acton Board of Health met on this past Friday like at 1 o'clock. So ours met Monday, and ultimately they decided that they were going to follow suit. And with that, they have different recommendations that they're asking. It's not a mandate. So, with COVID, there were definite mandates that you had to do these things. It was required. They are strongly suggesting. So what that means for Parks and Rec, obviously, we're gonna follow that because that essentially is a mandate for us. The schools feel the same way, so we've been kind of following this all together. The difference that they had proposed from Acton is that they were gonna actually go by the schedule that's listed as far, it's associated with Sunset, right? So every week it's gonna change, which is a little bit frustrating. That was one of the things they talked about. They were worried about there being confusion. However, it will allow for the most amount of time to be used with the daylight that we have, which will be beneficial for school athletics as well as the youth athletics. So yeah, this week it's a 7 o'clock, need to be off the fields by that time. And then tonight, the fields are actually closed. They did an emergency approval for spraying. So Tim had been working with them earlier today to go through and look at all the different fields and exact locations where they should be spraying. So that will get completed tonight, and that includes adulticide, so obviously killing adults. And they're creating a barrier around the athletic fields as well. So they're doing 2 types of spraying tonight. So the fields will be open tomorrow. I know people had asked about that. This isn't the fertilizer where you need to have 24 hours. This is we just need people to be off the field when it's sprayed, and it'll be fine by morning. So that's the first piece of it. So those are the prescribed end times for outdoor activities. We've gotten that out on social media. We've been in direct contact with all of the youth sports organizations. They've been really great about it. And obviously the school has been in communication with all of the school, the kids as well. So there's some additional components that they added as well. One of them is going to be installation of signage at parks, trails, outdoor spaces. So we actually printed all of those and laminated them today, so they will go out into the parks tomorrow. But essentially what it's going to say is this information, which is up on the Massachusetts Department of Health page. So essentially they're asking folks to use a repellent. The only thing that, we felt needed a little bit more information was, what kind of repellents, like what's okay. So they do have this information, that I kind of listed below. But they do have this information up on the state website. Because there are quite a few different options. I think the one that we always commonly think of is DEET. There's some newer ones. But a few of them, like the PMD and the oil of lemon eucalyptus, shouldn't be used on children under the age of 3. So there are some things to kind of think about. And then the permethrin, I always can't ever say that one. That's the one that's like usually embedded in clothes or you spray it. You're not supposed to put that on your skin. That's meant for whatever you're wearing outside. So I think DEET and Picardian and that too. It's interesting because like I was researching all of this stuff. So the bottom one is actually derived from tomatoes. And that middle one, that Picard or whatever, I think that's another eucalyptus based one.
I was gonna say, it sounds like the eucalyptus thing
Yeah.
is like a healthy thing.
Right, well, kind of. Yeah, and then DEET obviously is, that's an insecticide, so that's something that's pretty strong. And they're saying, that shouldn't be used on any infants under the age of 2 months. Yeah, so all of this information's up on the state website. So we'll have these signs that are out there. They're 11 by 17, so they're really big. And then we also put a QR code that'll take you directly to the Department of Health site that has all of this information. So hopefully people will check it out, inform themselves, make smart decisions for themselves and their family. And so trying to limit the timeframes that were out there in dusk and dawn, and then obviously trying to follow these set of, I don't really want to call them protocol, but ways to be able to protect yourself, right? So we'll definitely be posting that.
There's
Go ahead.
conservation or somebody doing theirs or what's?
Yeah, so I printed out a whole bunch of signs for them. So Tim is gonna go out and put them on that trailhead tomorrow. Yeah. And then the Board of Health will reconvene on September 25th and review. So for now, this guidance will be in effect until there's a first like heavy frost, because that's the only way that we're gonna kill the mosquitoes. Typically that happens in the second week of October, but we'll see. It's been pretty warm, so I don't know what that will be. So there'll be an update September 25th, and we'll communicate with the public again and let them know if and what has changed. Okay. Any questions on any of the triple E? Oh, it didn't pop in there for some reason. So I did add on here, it was a last minute. We did have a donation from the Denise Flaherty Agassic scholarship. So they had their cornhole tournament this past weekend. And they gave us a check for $2,375 to go towards the youth sports scholarship fund. So that's something I just kind of wanted to throw out there to you guys for approval.
How much again was it?
$2,375. And we are pretty low on the funds for youth scholarship right now. I think we only have about like 1,000 in there. But we did use a lot of it this summer for families to make sure that they went to camp, teen adventures, whatever other programs they wanted to attend.
So someone want to make a motion? You accept the donation?
Yes, make a motion to accept the donation from the
Denise
Denise
Flaherty
Yes.
Pagasic Scholarship.
Scholarship, student scholarship.
About seconds. All right, roll call vote. Kate,
Yes.
Saul,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
and Pete is a yes.
So that is, all new business, old business. I just kept it up there. If you guys wanted to talk and discuss that.
Have
Discuss
we
that all.
nailed down what we're gonna do for the?
I think last time you guys did say the eighth,
Eighth.
but just double checking, cause I'm coming back. So Tim will have to put in the agenda, cause I will be out of the office at that point in time, which is fine, that's, he's quite capable of doing so.
I think I'll be in Texas on November 12th, so I think I'll be in November 8th.
Okay,
I'm working to work back.
I love working my way back.
Well, I mean,
love it.
with the flights and overnight, we actually fly back that morning, so if everything goes smooth, I'll be back.
You'll be here.
Good luck. I'll be back by noon or 1 o'clock, but you never know how things work on a travel day, but
I do.
I should be here. If everything works out smoothly, I should. Planes, trains and automobiles.
Right.
It should,
Yeah.
should be okay.
Good, okay. That's it, and then just our advertisement for Oktoberfest. Be there, good fun.
Good.
Yeah.
Be at a swim meet in Vermont.
Oh.
I think,
Oktoberfest up there. What was that, Kate?
I think one of the things we had said we wanted just to confirm when we had more members here tonight was the time period of 6:30 PM for our meetings and make sure that was still working for everyone. We had discussed that.
Yeah. I mean, we're missing Kevin. That's- yeah.
Notwithstanding that.
I mean, 6:30 works for me. Yeah, it's better than 7.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be sleeping. It's like a nap.
If you wanna do them earlier, we can always do them earlier too. Okay, that's it.
All right. Motion to adjourn. Oh, public comments.
Can I,
Yes, absolutely.
can I,
Share.
I'd like to share,
Show and tell.
and I don't know, can you put this up for the person, the commissioner that's,
No.
No, okay.
You have to take this. slide.
so.
You always take the slide down, okay? Okay.
Certainly. So Rob Robinson, 25 Juniper Road. A few things. One, I want to thank Park and Rec. I know Alicia, you attended a lake funding stakeholder meeting. Has there been a meeting? Have you discussed that? Because I guess I'm very much trying to push and advocate for all things lakes and challenges associated with aquatic invasives and awareness in the community because it's going to become a funding request in the coming years as a result of
Is that,
the
this
cell
have
tower.
to do?
So no, but
Okay.
so I'm not commenting on that. So I don't know how you socialize or exchange that.
We
I'm
did
hearing
review it
this.
at last meeting.
You did,
Yes,
yes,
yes, yep.
okay, good, glad to hear it, okay. So thank you for attending. This item, during this past month, specific to the parking by permit only, I'm here to basically ask because of something that I've experienced. My wife and I were kayaking, it's about 3 weeks ago, nice family of 4, right by the boat ramp, which we came out, saw them, takes us more time than it took them. And I live about a block and a half away from boat ramp. And they were parked on my street, block and a half away. And I said, do you mind if I ask you, are you parking here because of the parking permit sign? Yes. I was like, well, and so I went back and read it.
Yeah.
And there's no, so I want to confirm I'm thinking this pertains to beach season only.
It does, so technically, no, but we only will enforce it during the beach season.
So, so I'd like to push that issue then, because I am trying to do all things lakes. And from my standpoint, I'm broadening my perspective pertaining to lakes. Because I think if the community doesn't utilize the lakes and appreciate them as much as if we can optimize usage and appreciation, it's going to bring greater likelihood with people saying, I benefit and I see others benefiting, therefore I'm for funding, or I'm for learning more about how we need to take care and manage this important jewel that we have in terms of Long Lake. So I'm looking for you folks to, one, be aware, and I'm gonna press with the suggestion of, let's get some date sequencing. If it's not being enforced, then let's not have families with little children walking a block and a half away because of the appearance that they're not permitted to sign. You guys can think differently, that's just my 2 cents.
If they put in on the boat ramp, there is parking space available for the boat ramp, that's
Okay,
not.
but that says if you're, they were using the beach. They just happen to be located, the boat ramp is this specific
Right,
location, but the beach basically is right, a couple feet off of the boat ramp.
I thought I had heard you say they were kayaking.
No, that was my wife and I. And we
Okay,
just happened to see
Okay.
them there, very nice couple, they were talking to us, did you enjoy your time, et cetera. So it was that dialogue that then I was very much aware as we were pulling our boats block and a half away. And they're, packing up their kids. And I'm like, wow, that's, for me, with my interests as I've explained, I'd really like to see an additional, whatever timeframe you want to put in, Memorial Day to Labor Day or whatever. I mean, I think that it was this season, things were vacated before Labor Day, and I don't think it was even enforced before Memorial Day. So I'm just saying, for people to be, personally, I think like today, the shoulder seasons are increasingly with the oppressive weather. The shoulder seasons are the optimum time to be using the lake. And here we've got a sign that's telling people stay away or park distance. So that's one thing I'd like to put for you folks to consider at some point in time. And I'm happy to do legwork. Should you decide, I'll be happy to chat with Jim Duggan, Town Administration or Highway Department to try to, okay, you guys have cleared it. Should you clear it? To then, what can we do to try to, affect change, et cetera. The other part that I want to chat with you about, and then I'll be done tonight, is as a result of, I think, a pretty successful stakeholder meeting, there's some conversation with regard to Long Lake itself, and many, the concept being bring different constituencies together with regard to discussing, brainstorming, contemplating how Long Lake can be more expansively used 12 months during the year by different interests. I'll just throw out one. I'm currently underway with similar photos with regard to making the point that the park benches around the lake have now been compromised in terms of enjoying the scenic aspects by vegetation that's been allowed to grow for probably decades. And so effort on my part underway to speak with town administrator and others with regard to conservation. Can we get that stuff taken down so that people can appreciate the benches that have been put there? That's just one subset. A second example, that seeing your revenue expenses, which I applaud the efforts to review such things. I'm very much interested in the aspect pertaining to your beach component there and the breakout of how much revenue is coming in from your passes and how much revenue is coming in from your rentals. I'd like to see more of the boats, the kayaks, et cetera, stand-up paddleboards out in the lake as opposed to up on the racks. So I'm curious as to how much money comes in and how much is utilized. And just because it's my interest, doesn't mean you'll give me that information or can give me that information.
It's all public knowledge.
But it's the sort of thing that I'm now identified to, and that's all I intend to make, but this would be brainstorming with regard to bringing together somebody from Park and Rec with possibly somebody from Conservation, with somebody from another discipline. There's a Long Lake Neighborhood Association, for example, but get 4 or 5 people together should you determine, yep, we'll play and participate in a session with regard to, okay, you're a dominant group with regard to Long Lake. And therefore, I think you folks have a significant voice to be heard and listened to. And I'd like to bring together some people in order to see what might be possibilities that could be contemplated, again, all with an aspect of greater utilization for the residents and non-residents. So I thank you for your time tonight. Appreciate your consideration of these issues.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Definitely take them under advisement.
Good points.
Okay, I think we're at the adjourning meeting. Motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn tonight's meeting.
second. Roll call. Kate,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Sal,
Yes.
Pete says yes. Meeting is officially over.
Okay.
Kaz, recognition of years of service for